Hello, everybody. Welcome to the D&D Chronicles, where we talk about D&D stuff because we're bored. My name is Thomas.
And my name is Leo.
And like I said, D&D Chronicles. Okay, so essentially, we're just going to be making some stupid podcast because funny.
Free work credit.
Well, I guess that cat's out of the bag. We're doing this for school. Anyway, yeah. First thing we have noted down in the quote-unquote script. What made us start D&D?
So
I think we'll start with you.
I think what made me start D&D was simply how complicated it was. I really liked all the thinking you had to put into it, all the thinking you have to put into it, and just the imagination. I just like how complicated it is for the most part. It's nice. At first, I did not like it. I know that D&D at first was way too complicated for me. I was like, ugh, what is this? But soon enough, I actually really got into it, and now I've spent at least $150 on D&D. So, what about you, Thomas?
Well, first of all, I know I've spent a lot more than that, probably over $1,000 in stuff because I like dice and dragon models. I kid you not. I have all of the chromatics. Anyway, that's not the point. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. ADHD. So I started D&D because my father, actually, he's a huge D&D gamer. He's been playing since like 1st edition, which, first of all, holy crap, my dad is old. Second of all, it was something cool I could do with my dad. He started me off, and then holy crap, I loved it. So what I did was, after playing for a while, getting used to all the mechanics, and getting a pretty good sense of story, I wrote out my own campaign. Which, not gonna lie, it's a modification of a couple different campaigns kind of splooged together. I'll admit that. Even Liam didn't know that until now. But it is original in its own way, because there are plenty of things that no one else has done, such as Murder Horse.
Murder Horse. We should talk about that for a bit.
No, hold on. Let me finish this, and then we will talk about Murder Horse. Okay, so actually, you know what? No, let's talk about Murder Horse now, because then we can move on to the second thing.
Yeah. Murder Horse. He is a horse that we had. And honestly...
Well, this is the campaign that I was running that he was playing in.
Yeah, Murder Horse was a horse that was probably created from the depths of hell.
Yeah, no, this horse rolled 8 critical hits in a row. 8 natural 20s? What the
Honestly, if he went to the lottery, I feel like he'd win twice in a row. He wouldn't even be a challenge.
That horse is nuts. So, canonically, he now has the appearance of Shadowmere from Skyrim. If you don't know what it's like, just look it up. It's really easy to find. Now, on to the second thing. Our first D&D session.
Since I don't remember mine that much, you go first.
Are you sure you don't want to try and remember your first D&D session? Maybe the first D&D session you were in of this campaign, then, if you can't remember your very first one.
I remember my very first one better than the one for this campaign. So I guess I'll just say my very first one.
That's fine.
Basically, very confused. I honestly, the first session I ever went to, I didn't like that much, simply because new to D&D, very stressed. D&D is very stressful. At the beginning, when you're getting...
I don't really think it's stressful. And okay, on to my first session. Sorry to cut you off there. Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, my first session was something. It was something, let's put it that way, huh? Okay, so here's how it went. I started off, we wrote up my character, Chip Del Toro. We wrote him up for 3.5, actually. But because they figured 3.5 would be too complicated for, at the time, my 12-year-old brain. They said, well, maybe let's go 5e, because Tim, my DM at the time, had discovered about 5e and just learned about it and like, okay, this is actually a lot simpler. Let's do this instead. And my dad was cool with it, so we all just kind of did that instead. And, well, we did 5e. We rewrote him into 5e. 5e being a much simpler alternative to 3.5. After rewriting him into 5e, we played our session, which consisted of... First, we were in a town. I bought some food, some crossbow bolts for my light crossbow, and an extra rapier so I could dual wield, because at first I didn't realize you can't dual wield rapiers, but that second rapier did come in handy at some point because my first rapier broke on an ogre's club.
Oh, you can't dual wield rapiers?
No, they're not light weapons. They're martial. They're martial ones, yes, and they're finesse ones, yes, but they're not light weapons.
Yeah, I thought they were light.
Anyway, as I was saying, during the night of one of our long rests, there was this weird howl in the distance of a child crying. And I don't know about you, but even though it was my first D&D session, even I knew, okay, we're in the middle of the woods. There's no way a random child is in the woods. We're like 4 days away from any town. That child would have been eaten already. So after quietly waking up my party because I was a rogue, I stealth forward and saw this weird, creepy, undead thing. Like I don't remember the exact name of it, but that thing was it was something, all right, you know? It was something. It was gross. I think he described it as like a black bipedal monster. And then I stealthed up in the trees and shot it. I shooted it good. I did a good shooted it, you know? I had a poo-poo.
You remember anything else from your first D&D session?
I also remember trying to argue with my DM that I could sleep in leather armor without suffering points of exhaustion. And winning the argument.
Actually, new to D&D and you somehow win a D&D argument with the DM.
Because I'm like, dude, it's leather. My bedroll is made of leather. It's just more leather. Bro, what is wrong with it? But yeah, that was another thing. Yeah.
So, I think we should now move on to our first D&D characters.
Well, I already told you about mine being Chip Del Toro, my rogue, who I'm still actually playing for today, due to the reason of my campaign has been going on for over 4 years.
Yeah, I completely forgot we're on our own characters.
Yeah.
My first character was, all I remember is that it was a druid.
Well, let's start with the first character you remember.
It was a wildfire druid.
No, I remember that first campaign.
Thomas says that it's not a wildfire druid because
I remember it was Circle of the Moon druid, and then you hated it, and then you left, and then when you came back, you saw wildfire druid, and you fell in love.
Oh, I see. Well, then that's probably what happened. But,
I don't know what it is, but when it comes to D&D, I remember everything acutely. It's not okay, I have an obsession. Help me.
Yeah, I don't know. Either pay rent or
buy a new set of dice.
Or, ancient white dragon figure. Hey, it's 20% off. But I think now it's time we talk about...
Now, hold on, no. You gotta talk about your first character that you remember, buddy.
Dude, I don't really know what happened, honestly.
I said that you remember. That you remember being the one you're playing now.
Oh, yeah. The one I remember playing now, he's a little strange. He's like,
an amalgamation of 3 classes: cleric, sorcerer, and mostly druid.
Wildfire Druid, of course. The best druid.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But, I don't know, like, my character, he's a guy, I guess, very human, because, of course, normal human's boring.
Agreed. I played variant human with Chip, too.
And, honestly, it was pretty good. His name's Ilkrith Okpo. He came from a village, and, you know, it burned down. Wah, sad story. Recently, I did find the culprit of the burning village. But I think that's for another session or another podcast.
Well, not another podcast, but another episode of the podcast.
Yeah, it's
a multi-thing.
My character is kind of stuck between being neutral, chaotic neutral, and neutral good, because he's normally nice, but against people who aren't good, he rips their skulls out.
I can understand that. Chip has definitely committed some war crimes in his past.
But
What made us stay for D&D?
Oh yeah, what made us stay? I think personally, what made me stay was probably, well, I think what I said earlier about what made us start D&D. Complexity, strategy, the fact that I can spend hours planning and still not have the best build.
Well, because in D&D, there's not really a best build.
Yeah, it's so many builds.
What made me stay was I was having a damn blast, okay? It was awesome. I was having so much fun. Oh my gosh, shit, I get to stab the ogre. I stab it in the gut. Roar! And another thing is, I picked excellently for my first class because I already had some familiarity with fantasy, so I knew my character was going to be the quote-unquote trap finder. My party calls me the trap trigger. Unfortunately for them, I have yet to trigger a single trap. As Chip Del Toro, I have disarmed every trap I've come across. Expertise in thieves' tools and stealth is awesome. I am the stealthiest in the party, currently rolling at advantage and plus 13 with no magic items. And for thieves' tools checks, I'm also rolling at plus 13. But what made me stay was I was having a blast, and it was a way to spend time with my dad, you know?
Yeah, honestly, I probably stayed because it was I think Thomas is a great DM, so I thought I really like how he DMs things.
And I try, bro. I try.
And I do also like arguing him about an obscure ruling and being right somehow, even though he has more D&D experience.
Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. He over-exaggerates.
When I'm not right, I think I might be right or not. When I am right, I know I'm right.
What? Huh?
Alright.
How our last few sessions went.
Honestly, I think they went pretty good. We did stuff with... Well, why don't you explain the Cult of the Dragon?
Okay, so, first of all, I need to explain. Custom world, okay? I made this one myself. Well, kind of. Like I said, amalgamation of worlds here with a bunch of original stuff added in. But... So... Basically, there's this cult, well, not really a cult, but more so a clergy that's going bad. Don't tell too many details, but a clergy that's going bad that's receiving help from the cult of the dragon in the form of dragons. That's bad juju.
Not good.
That's bad juju right there. So, they decided to cut the head off the snake. Well, one of the heads off of the Hydra. And they actually succeeded. Barely. They barely succeeded against the final fight against the big bad evil guy of the Cult of the Dragon. You know what, Liam? How about you tell me how many of your party members died, not including revivifies?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.
About there, yeah. And the thing is, this guy, he can also cast Revivify. Liam can also cast Revivify with his character. So he just kept reviving them, which pissed the big bad evil guy, and me a little bit, off to high hell. Well, the 9 hells, as it were.
I still haven't died this campaign. I haven't even switched characters.
Well, not many people do have to switch characters now that somebody has Revivify and the overwhelming power of twin casted, upcasted, extra D8 healing.
And Healing Spirit. Healing Spirit is broken out of combat.
Okay, I just need to explain something. There's a class feature of Wildfire Druid that makes it so whenever he casts a healing spell, he gets an extra D8 with it. But he also chose the Sorcerer Twin Casting thing, so he can just upcast 5th level for 6d8, and then, 6d8 plus Wisdom modifier, and then he can twin cast it, being able to heal someone with a 1 5th level spell slot and those sorcery points for 12d8. It's ridiculous.
Plus Wisdom modifier.
Plus double your Wisdom modifier,
Plus
because you're
double
technically casting the spell twice.
Yeah. And of course, then as my bonus action, I can quicken cast Healing Spirit and just get more healing.
Keep in mind, concentration spell. Anyway, why we started the podcast. I know Liam's about to say, I'm doing it for the credits, for school.
Credits,
but also, we get to talk about D&D stuff during school hours, and we get to have a bunch of fun doing it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still schoolwork, but it's schoolwork we want to do because it's about D&D.
Yeah, it might be the actual one thing we aren't behind on work.
Oh, shut up. We're editing that part out, just so you know. But yeah, that is all the questions covered, I believe. Now, hold on now. I want to cover a couple more bases, though. Another reason I started the podcast was because I've had so many ideas with D&D that I have wanted to do, but I can't talk about because I don't have anyone to talk about it with. But now I do. I have you, the probably very minimal audience.
If an audience at all, but hey.
But yeah, I'm just gonna put it into perspective. This is the first episode. We've been planning this for about maybe 2 weeks, and we already have 6 episodes planned out.
Yeah, I think, sure, this may not be that successful, but
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, for the end now, remember to leave a positive review if you like the podcast. If you want to hear about a topic, let us know. Now may your rolls be high and may you not die.
Good luck and goodbye.